Do you have any ways that you might kind of encourage us to process that, or to think about it that won't collapse our self-esteem, if you like? Or...
I would say immediately, what immediately comes into my head is, if you're feeling like it wasn't a great session and it's an overwhelming feeling, then take to a piece of paper and start writing down why it was a good session. So you're trying to override the feelings that it wasn't, and take to paper. I also think by taking to paper has a lot of power to it. There's a quote around writing stuff down. Like, I can't think what it is, but writing stuff down just has a power to it. So grab a piece of paper, have a notepad, and write down why it was a good session. Recognize the feeling and then act on it. Because you'll feel it was a bad session here, or that you didn't connect, or whatever. You'll feel it here, and then you have to override it. And we're not ignoring this, but we're going to override it, and then we're going to come back to this and say, okay, we have a bit more balance in place now. Now, what could I have improved? And then we go back to the positives again. It's about balance. It's about balance. The negative has way more power in our minds than the positive does. And if we can recognize that, then we'll create the balance we need to keep growing and keep our self-esteem in a good and healthy place.
Yeah, that's a great tip, I think, to write down why it was a good session. What was the positive that we can draw out of that? Because sometimes we might have a feeling that isn't actually rooted in anything that's happened. It's just a feeling that we have. Yeah. So if we can engage with that, I mean, sometimes we might have said something that hasn't been fantastic, but yeah, and especially like we might be picking that feeling up from the client.
Yeah.
If they're having real struggles with self-esteem, like they might leave that with us as they leave the counselling room.
Yeah, so yeah, be careful of transference as well. And make sure that it wasn't their low self-esteem that you're feeling.
Yes.
The other thing to do is, if you write it down, have a pad that you write it down in the pad, and then you can always flick back and reflect on what you have written, which can be really nice.
Yeah.
We're really good on when we deliver. I remember doing workshops years ago, and at the end of it, we always used to do this thing where we used to write something nice about somebody and pass it around the room, and we're really good at kind of facilitating things like that, but we're not good at doing it for ourselves. And when I ask clients, if I'm talking to a client about self-validation, for example, and then they go, they pull a face, and I go, what's the face for? And they go, well, it feels a little bit arrogant to be doing that. And I'll go, who says it's arrogant? Who told you it was arrogant? Because I feel you've learned that from somewhere, or somebody's told you that. And then I quick story for you. So I was in a